know, I could have walked away from the fight against brain cancer, but it's not in me to give up. And that's why I started the Charlie Teo Foundation. I want to put myself out of a job.
7 years ago is when I first got brain tumour. I was a fit and healthy girl. I was 35 years old. I had 2 beautiful girls, and it was a big shock. It was something that was huge.
You see, I see Janine as the perfect example of what we're fighting for. Mother of young children, she has the world at her feet. Everything should be going well in her life, and then suddenly she's struck down with the diagnosis of an inoperable, incurable brain tumour. Thankfully, we've managed to buy her time.
And over the past 5 years, I've had different surgery. He was able to take the tumour out 5 times as it continually kept growing.
The last operation hurt her pretty badly, where she could barely speak. And now she's facing a terrible situation where surgery is probably no longer applicable.
Every single one of us eventually passes away, but if it's because of a medical issue or because of some issue, we just have to keep fighting. And you know that you're going to be taken early, but you need to fight for it as long as possible.
I'd like to offer her hope. I'd like to be able to say to her, because of the research that we're doing, we can now offer you treatments that's going to prolong your life significantly. You can do those things that you've always planned to do. At the moment, we can't do that. Despite 20 years of devoting my life, time, effort, my own money into brain cancer research, unfortunately, patients are still dying pretty rapidly from brain cancer. At the Charlie Teo Foundation, we are taking strategically more calculated risks, acknowledging that the best breakthroughs in science don't come from being safe. Our research strategy guides how we fund and what we fund. We take an agile approach. If something is unsuccessful, we'll shift focus. If there's new technology, we'll seize it. The Charlie Teo Foundation is working hard to break down silos in research and share data worldwide.
As you provide these kind of resources to researchers all over the world, you end up creating something that you're crowdsourcing knowledge, so that maybe someone comes with a brilliant idea in Mexico but couldn't possibly collect that kind of data. Well, now they can work with it, and they might come up with something that we never thought of.
The Charlie Teo Foundation has created one of the largest tumour banks in the Southern Hemisphere. Essentially what happens is the patient has a surgery, they all give permission that I'm allowed to take their tumour and blood samples for future research. Once the tumour is out of the patient, the scientist comes along, takes that tumour, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, directly to the lab where they start analysing that tumour in the Charlie Teo Tumour Bank for genomic research, transcriptomic research, RNA analysis, etc., etc. By doing this, my patients are helping us find potential treatments for them now and for future patients. The Charlie Teo Foundation is collaborating with the Garvan Institute on a technique called single-cell RNA sequencing. It's a technique that we believe may find some answers to this terrible problem. This is a world-first, large-scale study into GBMs right here in Sydney. This initiative is being led by 2 brilliant scientists, the Charlie Teo Foundation's own Mike Shagru and the Garvan Institute's head of cellular genomics lab, Associate Professor Joseph Powell.
We're working on creating one of the largest DNA databanks for glioblastoma in the world. And our goal is to take all the tumors that we've collected over many years and get a very large data bank of DNA and RNA sequencing, which rivals even the largest government-funded projects. Now we're able to take individual cells out of there and get a profile of it. And if we're able to build the computer infrastructure around that to really handle that kind of data load, what we can do is provide the first real picture of everything that's in one cancer. And that's an unprecedented look into cancer. I mean, any cancer, but especially brain cancer. And luckily, with the partnership with the Garvan Institute, they bring that kind of cutting edge technology into our wheelhouse. It allows us to do something that even a year ago, most people didn't think was possible.
Like Archimedes' famous quote, we are funding the tools to help our researchers find solutions to change the world. And we'll share these tools far and wide. Our aim is to stack the odds in favour of finding a cure. We're using the same technology that Facebook and Google use to study us, but we're going to use that to study brain cancer. This is lean science done at a very fast pace.
So we decided that there are lots of groups who are good at different things. Our unique skill set was making big data analytics and data analysis in a way that would pipeline to the clinic as fast as possible. We're making software that can actually look at how those genes interact. We actually created that framework already. We're making something at the level that the Googles and Amazons of the world would be impressed with what we're creating.
My eyes were open when someone made it very clear to me that over the last few decades, the most significant discoveries in cancer research have not been from mainstream scientists. There have been people out there who've been struggling to get funding, but have come up with very left field, out of the box ideas.
It's a real tragedy when you think that the possibility that someone who has the cure for glioblastoma might not get funded because they seem too out there.
The Charlie Teo Foundation is seeking out absolute geniuses from all around the world. We'll support them and empower them to do what they do best, to pursue ambitious and unusual ideas that would otherwise go unfunded. No politics, this is just pure science at its best.
It's my passion, it's my life. And I look at it and say, well, of course I'm extremely biased in this, but I would put money on me getting something done. That's all I've done my adult life. And the dream is that this is no big deal in the future. But right now, we don't come anywhere close to that. And we have some success stories and we're really happy about that. But the concept, we're gonna just wait around until some magic happens in a lab somewhere, is not acceptable. We want it as soon as possible.
We need your support for game-changing research. I'm asking you to help put me out of a job.